Hello. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Ill. All right, guys, this is episode number 3. We're rocking and rolling over here. I know this episode, guys, I had said in the previous episode that this episode I will talk all about why we are gaining so much weight on Trikafta. Very common question that people are asking these days. And I will talk about that, but in the next episode. So let me explain why, okay? I just found out there is a big change coming in the next 2 months. So in 2023, Vertex is totally changing how much and how much copay assistance that they're providing patients for Trikafta. So yeah, there's a lot of information around that. There's a lot of opinions around that. And there's a lot of steps that we might need to start taking in order to be better prepared. So I figured this is a very time sensitive and this is a very important topic that I probably need to do a podcast episode on. So I've spent the last hour out on the phone with Vertex Patient Guidance Support, asking them so many details of what all this entails, what we should do, why they're doing this, all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to relay all that I have learned in this podcast for you guys, and I'll share my not so favorable opinion on it. It's so infuriating. We'll get into it. But anyway, first of all, I just want to take a second, guys, and say thank you. So thank you so much. This is the first episode that I am recording since publishing the podcast out publicly, and it's been really well received. So thank you so much for that, guys. When you create something, you never know, how many people are going to be interested in it, how people are going to like it. And I've gotten a lot of messages from people that have CF or their parents of CFers, or they're just regular old people. They're like, hey, this is a great idea. Like, way to go. We listen to it. We love it. Can't wait to hear more. Like, that's awesome. It's a really great feeling. So again, take a second and say thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your day and listening to the podcast. And even more importantly, thank you for sharing that feedback with me. That really makes me feel like I'm doing something right. I'm going in the right direction. And I want to provide more content for you guys when I get those messages. So really, really awesome. We are officially on Apple Podcasts, guys. We're on Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts is pending, but it should be on there soon. If you did not know, I have a camera pointed at me, and I am recording these episodes on video as well. So I'm uploading these to YouTube for those of you that are more visual type people. So I've learned over the years, me personally, I'm a much more visual person. I enjoy learning and just consuming the content I like more so when I'm able to watch it than just listening. Of course, I still listen to podcasts while I'm driving and on road trips and exercising and things like that, but I prefer visual. So the episodes will be the same. It's just me talking to the microphone basically, but sometimes on examples and whatnot, I can provide more words on the screen and numbers and things like that on the YouTube versions. So give those a watch and see if you like that media format, that format. I think it's that format better. But yeah, let me know what you think. But again, guys, thank you so much for taking the time. Please do share the podcast, subscribe, follow, do all those things, and share it with friends and what have you, if you find it valuable and fun to listen to. But all right. With that in mind, let's get on with it. Let me say, you can always reach out to me on social media. As you guys probably already know, my Instagram handle is Brian King, no spaces, 3 I's in Brian, 3 I's in King. I know I tried to just do Brian King and someone took it a long time ago, apparently. But also, you can always email speakingillpodcast@gmail.com. So let me know any topics you'd like me to talk about on the podcast. If you have any questions you want me to cover on the podcast. If you guys just want to share your story, and I'll share your story on the podcast. Whatever you want. Just reach out. Don't be a stranger. But all right, guys. Whew, now that all that's out of the way. All right. Let's get on with the episode because I am heated. All right. So what's happening? Okay. So I'm going to go over some little research I've done on Trikafta and Vertex, whatnot. And then I'm going to go over how health insurance works. And then I'm going to go over the way Vertex and Trikafta and insurance has all worked up until now, and then I will go over finally the changes that Vertex is implementing starting 2 months from now, 2023. Okay, so I've done a little research. So what I've learned is, and again, this is, I'm not an expert, right? I'm just sharing what I've learned, what I've heard. So don't hold me to the fire here. But Vertex came out with Trikafta, I think, publicly in like 2019, right? And it is a game changer, right? There's no doubt about it. It has helped so many people in the CF community. It is available to most people. There are some people that cannot take it because they don't qualify due to their mutation, or there are some people who have bad side effects from it and don't take it. But for the most part, it has helped many, many, many people. Some countries around the world, I believe, still don't have access to Trikafta. And the reason mainly seems to be, as we probably all know this, the insanely high price that Vertex has put on Trikafta. It is it's just ridiculous. So anyway, so they are charging in the United States. The list price is between $270,000 and $310,000 per year per patient before discounts. Okay, all right. Trikafta has a patent on it, so Vertex has a patent until 2037. So once the patent expires, then competitors can come into the market and prices are expected to drop maybe 85 to 90%, right? But until then, we are stuck with Vertex basically having a monopoly on this medication. And the problem is that other people around the world can't get it because they can't afford it, right? Like so not all countries have the same type of insurance and health coverage and whatnot. So there are some countries where the medications all go through the government health program system, et cetera, okay? And from what I understand, I guess Vertex had been in negotiations with a few different countries, and simply it wasn't able to happen because Vertex is charging such a high price on it. So the countries just couldn't get access to Trikafta. And it's so that part alone, it's just really, really, really frustrating. Because imagine people around the world that have CF, right? We know CF limits us in so many ways with our families, our jobs, our quality of life. So many ways CF can limit us. And imagine living with this, okay? And of course, because the way CF plays a part in our lives, we are online a lot, right? It might be video games, it might be social media. We can't see each other. We're not supposed to see each other in the same room and hang out with each other. A lot of us can't work because of the hospitalizations and lung infections, et cetera. So we spend a lot of time online, right? And so imagine that this medication comes out and you're seeing so many other people around the world's lives just dramatically improve, dramatically change. Like we now have the opportunities to have families and careers and even retire, like and like grow old and get gray hair, like all this stuff, which is for the better, obviously, has changed. And imagine being someone who has to watch that. And even though you qualify for Trikafta, you simply can't get it because of how much it costs, and Vertex not willing to accommodate for those type of people. So anyway, that's just some of the stories I've heard from others on social media, and I think it's ridiculous. It's so sad. So analysts have estimated Trikafta will be pulling in $6.6 billion in sales by 2025. Okay, it's insane. So ICER is, I guess, an agency that reviews medications and kind of puts out stats on medications and approves them, et cetera. And so they had stated that the cost of Trikafta, to bring the cost of Trikafta in line with the health benefits it provides, Vertex would need to lower the price to between $67,900 and $85,500 per year. So they're maintaining the higher price will cause disproportionately greater losses in health among other patients in the health system due to rising overall cost of healthcare and health insurance. So it's just, this is all of the internet, guys, like how crazy like the cost is. And we as patients think it's insane. But when you hear other like organizations and agencies pointing this out, like this is just asinine. Okay, I'm trying not to get too biased on here. I'm gonna try to stay neutral a little bit. But all right, guys, so let's get into how it works, how things are going. So I can only speak to the United States and how insurance works here. That's what I'm used to. That's what I know. That's what I've experienced, all right? So the way it works here is you have health insurance, okay? And that could be through the government, such as like Medicare, Medicaid, or if you work, that can be through your employer. So if you have government health insurance, which is a whole nother episode we'll do down the road, but if you have government health insurance, you cannot make more than a certain amount of money, okay? And if you do, then you lose that government health insurance. And if you want insurance, you have to either pay privately, which is incredibly expensive, or you have to pay for your health insurance through your employer. They have a plan that they provide you, okay? We're probably all familiar with this. Okay, so with you, I'm going to go down the route of health insurance through your employer. That's what I've always done. So you have a deductible and an out-of-pocket max, all right? So your deductible and out-of-pocket max, they reset every year. So for example purposes in this episode, all right, let's just say your deductible is $500, okay? And your out-of-pocket max, let's say, is $2,000. So what do those mean? Well, if you have medical bills, so medications, doctor visits, etc., then you are responsible for those costs until you hit your deductible. So if your deductible is $500, then you have to pay out of pocket, out of your bank account, all your medical bills until you hit $500. Now, once you do so, your insurance will now start covering a percentage of your medical bills. So most of the time, what I've seen is that's 80%. I've had 70% in the past. Different plans will offer different percentages and rates, but typically it seems like it's 80%. Okay. So that means once you hit $500, your health insurance will cover 80% of all your additional medical costs after that. And you, the patient, are left over with 20%, right? 80 plus 20 is 100%. So you're left over with that 20%. Okay. Well, then you have an out-of-pocket max number, all right? And that number means, so we're going to use 2,000 for this example. That number means that once you hit that number, by paying out of pocket yourself, out of your own bank account, once you hit that number, then your health insurance will pay 100% of your medical bills for the rest of the year until your deductible and your out-of-pocket max resets, okay? So if you have spent $500 out of your own pocket and you've knocked your deductible out, okay, well, now your health insurance is going to pay 80% of your medical bills. You're still paying 20%. And once you have reached a total of, in this example, $2,000, that will be your out-of-pocket maximum number. And from then on, for the rest of the year, you're basically getting your medical treatments, prescriptions, etc., for free because your insurance is paying 100%. All right. That's the way that works, okay? That's the way it's worked for forever. Okay. So then there is another part about this. And the way this has worked in the past is when you order a medication that is very expensive, such as Vertex medication. So if you remember, they came out Kalydeco, okay? They came out with Orkambi. They came out with Symdeko, and now Vertex. I know. You guys are like, wait, what? I meant Trikafta, guys. We're on Trikafta now. So back when I was on Orkambi, I didn't qualify for Kalydeco. I didn't have the mutation. So when I was on Orkambi, we found out that it was so expensive that Vertex will pay a copay assistance, right? So they're like, hey, look, like we know our medication's really pricey. We want all the patients in the CF community to be able to take it. This is our product. We want you to buy our product, right? They're a company. That's what happens. That's a business. They want us to buy their company or buy their company. They want us to buy their product that they create. So therefore, they know we can't afford the high price they set. So they say, don't worry about it. We will provide you copay assistance. Okay. So for the longest time, you could take Vertex's copay assistance and apply that to your deductible and to your out-of-pocket max for your health insurance plan. So what that meant was if your deductible is $500 and your out-of-pocket max is $2,000, but your Vertex medication each month was like, let's say, $20,000, for example, your insurance pays $10,000 of it, you have $10,000 left over for you to pay. Well, then Vertex comes in and says, hey, hold on, we're going to help you out. We'll pay, $9,990. So all you have to pay as the patient is $10 a month. Does that make sense? So if you're only paying $10 a month for your Vertex medication, but Vertex Copay Assistance covers $9,990, well, you can now apply that assistance to your deductible and your out-of-pocket max. So you're going to knock out that deductible very quickly. It's only $500. You're going to knock out that out-of-pocket max in the first month of the year, right? Does that make sense? So now the remaining 11 months of the year, your insurance is required to pay 100% of your medical bills, including Trikafta, because you have reached your out-of-pocket maximum. So Vertex is off the hook. After that first month, now that you've hit that out-of-pocket max, Vertex does not do copay assistance anymore, right? So you can kind of see, kind of genius, right? Like they're telling everyone, hey, don't worry. We want you to be able to take our medication. So therefore, we are going to help you out. We are going to pay copay assistance and help you out. Look how great we are. However, that's only for the first month for all patients. And then all of a sudden, patient's insurance kicks in and says, hey, we'll pay the remainder 100% for the rest of the year. So that's what was happening. All right. Well, then insurance realizes this, okay? And they're like, whoa. Like we're spending too much money. We're paying, that's a loophole. We're paying too much money. So insurance plans have developed a copay adjustment program is what it's usually called. And what happens is they have developed this program where they do not allow copay assistance for medications such as Vertex Copay Assistance. They do not allow those to be applied to your deductible and your out-of-pocket max anymore, okay? So the only money that gets applied to your deductible and your out-of-pocket max is the money that literally comes out of the patient's bank account. So for example, if you are required to only pay $10 a month for your Vertex medication, because your insurance pays some and then Vertex Copay Assistance pays some, well, then that $10 is the only thing that is actually going to get applied to your deductible and your out-of-pocket max. So for the most part, you can imagine you're probably never going to hit your out-of-pocket max for the entire year because you're only putting $10 towards it when, that number is usually high. It's like $10,000 or like $2,000 or $5,000 or whatever. So that's what insurance plans started doing. And now it seems like that's kind of like very common. It seems like most plans now have a copay adjustment program is what they're calling it. So mine personally right now does, okay? So I never hit my out-of-pocket max anymore. My total medications out of all my prescriptions for each month probably are like, I don't know, maybe like $150, $200 maybe. So it's not going to be likely by the end of the year that, I'm going to hit that out-of-pocket max of $2,000 or $4,000, whatever it is. I can't remember what it is right now. But anyway, so that's what's happened, all right? So basically, Vertex has seen this, okay? And what they have said is, well, hold on, that's not fair to the patient, right? Like we got to come up with a plan and help the patient out. But guys, just a little life tip. If someone says they're going to help you, the very first question I ask myself is, okay, are you trying to sell me anything? Do you want me to buy something from you? And if you do, well, my trust in your intentions are a little off, okay? If you're not trying to sell me something and you're trying to give me information and teach me something to help myself, well, now I trust you way, way more. Okay. So you gotta understand, Vertex is a business, and that's when they say help you, read between the lines. All right. So to me, what it sounds like has happened is insurance companies are saying, hey, we are going to do this copay adjustment program. So therefore you cannot apply that copay assistance to your out-of-pocket max, meaning you'll probably never hit your out-of-pocket max for the year, meaning Vertex has to continue to pay that copay assistance every single month for you in order for you to take your medication, such as Trikafta. Okay? Because remember, previously, you were allowed to apply that assistance to your out-of-pocket maximum, meaning that you were going to hit your out-of-pocket maximum after the first month or two, and then Vertex was off the hook. The insurance had to pay 100% after that, right? Okay. So I think that is what has happened so far, okay? That's why Vertex has decided, you know what? We got to change things, okay? So up until this point, so up until the new year, 2023, Vertex has provided assistance for up to $8,950 per fill for Trikafta each month, okay, per fill. So some insurance plans will utilize that entire $8,950. We're just going to call it $9,000. It's only $50 off from $9,000. So let's just say $9,000, okay? So some insurance plans will utilize the entire amount and say, oh no, we need to use that entire $9,000 for assistance, okay? And some apparently will pay a little bit more for Trikafta and not use that entire amount. Anyway, the point is, at the end of the day, the patient usually pays $15 for their Trikafta each month, okay? That's what mine's been doing for quite a while now as well. So that's kind of been the rule, from what I understand, up until now. Vertex will provide up to $8,950 per fill each month. Okay. So the new plan. All right. So the copay adjustment program component of this is super important. It really determines a lot. And let me explain why. So Vertex has decided in 2023, moving forward, they're going to help the patients, okay? They're going to help patients get out of this thing, and they're going to help them meet their out-of-pocket max again sooner, et cetera, AKA they're going to try to make insurance pay 100%, and they don't have to pay for assistance anymore, is what it seems to be pointing to. So, but they're spinning it in a way that it is here to help the patients. So this is the information I have found out. So the new rule, the base rule, there's two different paths to go down on this, main paths at least. So the base rule for both paths is Vertex will provide up to $20,000 annually, meaning annually, for copay assistance, okay? Okay, so then if your insurance plan does not have a copay assistant or a copay adjustment program, meaning that you currently are able to apply Vertex's copay assistance to your deductible and to your out-of-pocket max. If you fall in that bucket, then the max copay assistance per fill per month, right, is still going to be $8,950 by Vertex, with a maximum for the year cap on it, limit of $20,000. Okay, so if you use your brain here, $8,950 is very close to $9,000. Okay, $9,000 times 2 is $18,000. So you might be saying, well, hold on, am I not going to have copay assistance for Trikafta after the second month in the year? For 10 months, am I going to be responsible for Trikafta because that $20,000 limit? Well, yes and no. Because now, think about it, right? You're in a bucket to where your copay assistance is applied to your out-of-pocket max and your deductible. So therefore, really, you're going to hit that out-of-pocket max within the first month or two, probably as you already have been doing. So even though Vertex has this rule that they're not going to pay more than $20,000 per year for assistance for you, you're probably never even going to hit that limit because your insurance is going to kick in and say, okay, we now have to pay 100% because that patient has hit their out-of-pocket max, right? Make sense? Okay, so I kind of point this out on the call And they told me, well, there's some patients that don't have a copay assistance program, but we'll still need to figure out some hurdles. Okay, they did not go in depth on what those might be, but for the most part, it sounds like things are going to be fairly smoother for that bucket of people. Okay, now the other bucket, which is the bucket that I'm in, it sounds like most people are in, is the bucket to where your insurance does have a copay adjustment program, meaning that you cannot apply your copay assistance right now to your deductible and to your out-of-pocket max. Okay. So the new rules are from Vertex is you still have this $20,000 annual limit on how, Vertex is willing to provide you up to $20,000 annually in assistance, but they're lowering their monthly copay assistance. So copay assistance per medication fill, which is basically monthly for most people, to $3,500. Okay. That is $8,950 before to now $3,500 is what they're doing. So they are decreasing their amount of assistance for you. So if you were able to put two and two together in your head, what this jumps to in my head is, holy shit, you're telling me that just to get my Trikafta from now on, starting in 2023, I'm going to have a balance of about $4,500 to $5,000 or so at the pharmacy every month? And she says, yes. So, yeah. You can imagine how well that went over. So, what are the solutions? So Vertex is, no, yes, that's true. But listen, we have these solutions and these remedies that we want you to try. Okay. So the very first one I was told about was they have an email going out to everyone, right? That have CF and that get Trikafta or Vertex medication from them. And they have an email going out to everyone that explains all this in summary. And I guess on page 7 or around page 7, there are other resources, information to utilize and things to say and et cetera. So I'm about to explain that now. So one thing they're emailing out to everyone is a list of third-party funding assistance from other organizations, other programs, et cetera. So they want you to go down this list and see if you qualify for any of these third-party assistance programs. Okay. So this is irritating, right? Because so you are changing the rules on us, the patients, okay? And this has been going smooth for everyone. We're in the routine, we got it. But now, during the holiday season, when we're supposed to be spending time with loved ones, right? And we have jobs and we have families. You want us to take time to do homework to get this medication that you've decided to spontaneously change the rules on. There's 2 months left in the year. That's wonderful. Very good. They seem like they really care about the patients. But anyway, all right, let's move on. So there's a third-party list, okay? HealthWell is another great program, guys. If you guys have not heard of HealthWell, they're a program that helps you pay for your medications, and just really great. I was on them for a while. However, an issue when it comes to these assistance programs is there are criteria that you have to meet. And a lot of times one of those criteria is salary. If you have a job, you have to make sure you don't get paid too much in order to qualify to get this assistance. Well, that's becoming more and more of a problem, right? Because we're on Trikafta. We're feeling better. It has just opened up so much opportunity for us when it comes to family, life, careers, jobs, etc. So now a lot of CF patients have jobs, careers, salaries. So a lot of patients don't qualify for these assistance programs. And I said, what are you doing about those patients? So then they said, okay, well, one, you can always contact CF Compass. So they're a program, I think, through the CF Foundation. I think they're like a branch off of that. But CF Compass, and they will help provide assistance with this and see if you qualify for these programs and let you know what programs there are, etc. Okay. So if you're not eligible for any of these programs, you don't qualify for them for whatever reason it may be, well, The next step is you should contact your insurance plan or your HR rep at your employer. Okay. And basically, so I guess in page 7 of the email that they send out, I'm told that they will have some jargon, some verbiage on how you should approach your employer's HR rep and maybe your insurance plan and what kind of terms you need to know to ask them about. But basically, they said you need to contact your HR rep or your health insurance plan and see if there are other cost-saving programs that you haven't utilized yet. So call them, explain to them the situation and say, do you guys have other cost-saving programs that I could use to help pay for this medication that Vertex is charging me $4,500, $5,500, something like that, dollars a month for? And just to get it exact. So let's think about this. About $9,000 is what they were covering before. They're only covering $3,500 now. So we're talking about $5,500 is what you could be stuck with at the pharmacy, it sounds like. That is just so great. Okay. So you've gone through the list. You don't qualify for those. You're going to contact your HR rep. You're going to contact your health insurance plan. See if there's any other saving programs that you can use. Okay. Now, I said, okay, so what happens if they say no? There's no other cost-saving program. Well, she says, well, okay, the next thing is see how they classify Trikafta at your employer, your health insurance plan. How do they classify it? Do they consider it an essential medication or a non-essential medication? Okay, that should be a fun conversation. So I don't know, right? I'm just speculating, but in my mind, it's like this is a brand new medication that came out just a few years ago. CF patients have been living without this medication for years now. Don't get me wrong, right? The medication improves our lives dramatically. But the point is, like, would employers rush to deem it as an essential medication, especially with how much it costs? I would doubt it, okay? So, even if the employer has it as a non-essential, well, Vertex says, well, there are steps that we can take to get it deemed as essential. How long is that going to take? Because are they going to do that before the new year? I mean, I'm not stupid, okay? I work for, a living, and I know that a lot of companies, especially at the end of the year, really slow down how productive they are because it's the holidays. People have families. People are doing things, right? So are we really to expect that your employers and say, oh, shit, you're right. Let's deem it as essential. Let's jump on that right now. Doubtful. So I brought this point up, all right? And they said, okay, if you don't qualify for the third-party funding, you don't have additional cost-saving program through your employer, and your employer is going to take too long or they refuse to deem Trikafta as essential, there are other options through Vertex. I said, okay, what are the other options then? Because I want to have all my bases covered. If I'm not able to get my medication, I'm going to raise some hell. I'm going to be pissed, right? Like you can't do this to people. Like once their lives have changed, they've made these decisions, they've been able to change their lives around. You go, oh, nope, you don't get the medication anymore. We're taking it away from you. So I was like, that's ridiculous. So they said, okay, don't worry about it. There are other options. Okay, what are the other options? So she said, one is, get this, guys. One is that you can do a mail-in rebate for Trikafta through Vertex. And yes, you at first pay out of pocket every month and then mail in a rebate and Vertex will reimburse you. This was laughable. Okay, so the good news is that you will repay me for the medication. So it sounds like Trikafta could be $0. It could be free for us per month. However, you want us to all have $5,000 per month to just spend at the pharmacy on Trikafta. Who the hell is going to have that kind of money to pay at the pharmacy and then mail in a rebate? And they said, yes, okay, we know that might not be realistic for some people. For most people, that probably won't be realistic. But anyway, so then they said, if that's the case, then you can assess your eligibility for further Vertex patients assistance. So apparently, if all else fails, Vertex is trying to work out some type of assistance program that will then help you if you have tried all these other steps. And it will help cover the remaining balance. I don't know, you guys, I don't know if that means they will help recover the remaining balance down to $0 or if they will just help cover some portion of that remaining, $5,500 or whatever it is for your Trikafta each month. Anyway, all right, guys, that is all the information I have around this. It sounds like a shit show, okay? It's so frustrating to have a company make this great medication. Dude, I am not bashing the medication. It is great. It is changing lives like crazy. I get it. And I totally understand that the people that have spent the time and the money and the effort in creating this medication should be compensated. I totally understand that. This is a job for those people. It is how they provide for their families. However, you are making $6.6 billion by 2025 is the expectation in just, 6 years of it being out? Like, come on. There are people around the world that don't have access to the medication because of how expensive it is. And now what just seems to be that you don't like paying for the copay assistance for every patient every month for the medication that you have set the price on, that you are now trying to change the rules on people. And now they have to go do homework just to get their medication again within 2 months' time around the holidays. Like, how are you trying to tell me that you guys care so much for the patients and you're just trying to make this as smooth as possible for them? Bullshit. Anyway, praise Vertex for making the medication. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is awesome for the community, but man, this is just so hard to get behind and accept, right? Like, this is very, very, very frustrating. And this is one of the last things that we should be worrying about right after pandemic times comes. And now we have to worry about this when it comes to like us trying to get, gifts for our family and relax during the holidays and like stay on top of our mental health. And like, this is a huge stressor. Like, this is not something that's just like no big deal. So anyway, I've talked with my clinic guys. My clinic, it sounds like, is very well connected with Vertex, and Vertex seems to listen to them a lot. And they have assured me, don't worry, we have voiced several frustrations about this. And they encourage me to, go talk to Vertex, tell them why you're bothered by this, tell them how frustrating it is for you, because these guys have a monopoly on Trikafta, guys, right? They have a monopoly. Like, it sounds like competitors won't be entering the market to bring down the price anytime soon. So it's really up to us to put up a fight and voice our concerns and voice how much it causes us to struggle. Reach out to your clinics, voice to them about this. Because this is very frustrating. If Vertex truly cares about the patients at the end of the day, then they should listen to the patients at the end of the day. And they should be able to provide and accommodate for the patients at the end of the day, right? All right, well, let's hold them true to their word, guys. Do you guys think this is all for the patients and to help us hit that out-of-pocket max again where we don't pay anything? Or do you think this is Vertex being greedy with money? Or is it a little bit of both? Could be a little bit of both. All right, guys, that's all I have for this episode. I know it's probably running a little bit long, but this is super important information. You guys need to take action. Make sure you're covered. We don't want you guys to have a lapse in medication. Vertex did tell me several times that is their goal, to make sure no one goes without Trikafta for any amount of time. So it seems like they are trying to stay on top of that. So make sure you are calling your Vertex patient support people. Make sure you're calling your clinic. Make sure you have everything figured out that you need to have it figured out. Again, guys, I'm in this boat with you. If you are frustrated, don't worry. I am frustrated too. I'm in that boat with you. But that is it for this episode, guys. I will see you guys in the next episode where I do plan on talking about why we are gaining so much weight on Trikafta. We'll go over that. We'll go over questions, all the fun things. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.